Hi, I'm Heather. Welcome to class. Today we're going to work on deepening our back bends, bringing more awareness to how we can mobilize the thoracic spine and hopefully go deeper into some of our favorite back bends. And before we begin, I invite you to subscribe to this channel, to like and comment and share this video so those actions help YouTube's algorithm share this content with other people who are searching for inspiration for their yoga practice. Before we begin, if you find this video helpful, be sure to like and subscribe. Let's start using our chair. We're going to use the handle of the chair to mobilize the upper back. Let's put a blanket over the handle. With the blanket over the handle, we've got a little bit of extra padding. Sit forward, so your thighs are predominantly off the seat, and let yourself lean back. So you lean back into the handle. Depends on how long your spine is relative to the height of your chair, but we want to feel the lower tip of the shoulder blades on the handle. We're going to lean back so that we feel the thoracic spine lifting, and interlock your fingers, take your arms back, take your head back. So arching the upper back, not so much the lower back, feeling how the handle helps to encourage that movement, upper back arching. And then you can come out, swap the interlock of the fingers, and again, arms straight, take your arms overhead, backwards. Again, feel the impression of the handle there in the upper back. Make sure you are mobilizing the upper back, not the lower back. And then again, come up and out of the pose. Now, of course, you can stay longer, but I am wanting to get a lot done in this session. So if you want to repeat that, you can pause the video, repeat that. Otherwise, let's take the blanket off the handle. We'll put the chair to one edge of the mat, and we'll work on our upward facing dog pose. I might actually turn this chair around to the other end of the mat. I think that's better perspective for the cameras. Let's place our hands on either sides of the seat of the chair. Walk the legs back. So you're doing a variation of downward facing dog pose. The ankles underneath your hips. Then we come forward for upward facing dog pose. So move your chest forward. Bend the elbows, get the sides of the chest, the side ribs to sweep forward of the upper arms, and then straighten your arms. So you want to move the pelvis to the forearms. Can you get the pelvic bones to touch the forearms? Legs are straight. So you're on your toe prints. Don't worry about coming over onto the toenails. Stay on the toe prints. And move the hips forward, pelvis forward to the forearms, tailbone in. Lift the navel up and see if you can mobilize the upper back. So move the thoracic spine in as you squeeze the lower shoulder blades forward towards the chest. And then pull yourself back. Let's go again. So come forward on the inhalation. Sweep the chest through, straighten your arms. Press your shoulder tips back and down. You can look up, lift the chin, but move the thoracic spine in. Forward towards the sternum, and then exhale. Pull yourself back. And again, forward, upward facing dog pose. Exhale back. And let's do one more. Forward, chest further forward than the line of the arms. Squeeze the upper arms against the side body. And move the pelvic bones to the forearms, tailbone in as you press your shin bones up. Look up, coil the upper back in, and then exhale, pull yourself back. Then step forward and come to stand up. We're going to use the chair again, once more with the blanket over the handle. Again, we're going to mobilize the upper back, but this time we're going to take the hands back to the wall. So let's take our mat to the wall and we'll set the chair in place. We can start with the chair about our arm's length. So I'm placing the handle about an arm's length away from the wall, and then we may need to adjust where the chair is depending on how much we're able to mobilise our upper back and our shoulders. So we've got our blanket there on the handle. This time as we sit, we can take our hips further back. Earlier I was saying hips forward. Hips can go further back, and we want to dig the heels into the chair legs. That's really important because we want to keep the chair stable. So heels dig into the chair legs, then we arch back, so we're feeling the shoulder blades on the handle. We want to then reach back to the wall. Now, if there's a bit of concern that the chair is going to move, you can keep your hands holding the arms of the chair while you lift your hips up, and you feel the shoulder blades on the handle. Then when you're ready, you can take your arms back. Now you can see I'm quite close to the wall. My elbows are bent if I'm keeping my hands at shoulder height. But if the shoulders can mobilise, then maybe the hands can slide down the wall, and then you can straighten your elbows. But do keep your shoulder blades on the handle, not coming down onto the ribs. So if you need to come down and adjust where your chair is, then do that. Maybe the arms have to be more in that horizontal position because the shoulders are limited. But we're doing this to help gain more access to the mobility of the shoulders and the thoracic spine. So as you're staying, dig your heels into the chair legs, lift the outer hips up, move the tailbone in, and if you can, you challenge yourself by taking your hands further down the wall, squeezing the elbow tips in, ensuring the arms are straight. Make sure you're breathing smoothly as you go on, lifting the hips up. And then you can come up and out of the pose. And we'll sit, find neutral. And we're going to go again. So if you felt that you could challenge yourself a little bit more, then the chair comes in just a little bit closer to the wall so that you can walk your hands further down the wall. Now, clearly, if the shoulders are not agreeing with this, you stay out from the wall and you work more with the arms coming horizontal. But again, dig the heels into the chair legs, lean back so you feel your shoulder blades on the handle. As you dig the heels into the legs, lift the outer hips up. Try not to let the knees flare out wide. So inner knees roll down, outer hips lift. Look backwards and reach your hands to the wall, potentially slide the hands down the wall. But push into the wall, straighten your elbows, and just notice the sensation of the handle in the upper back. We're using that to help mobilize the upper back. As you go on digging the heels into the chair legs, lift the hips higher, outer hips lift. Engage not just the quadriceps but the hamstrings. So the muscles on the back of the thighs contracting as well as the front thighs. And then when you're ready, you can bring yourself up to sit again, and once more find neutral. We'll move on to Urdhva Dhanurasana. So that is a great preparation for Urdhva Dhanurasana, the upward bow pose. And it's also an alternative for those who find it difficult to access the full pose. But we're going to work with a particular prop setup that may help people access the pose who perhaps ordinarily find it difficult. You'll note I've got two bolsters stacked next to the wall, and my chair is now folded. I'm going to place the folded chair on the bolsters like so. The seat is facing up. Now, if you don't have two bolsters, you can potentially use folded blankets underneath your bolster, or bricks underneath your bolster. The idea is to have height underneath the handle of the chair, and the chair is on a slight diagonal. Our back body is going to be supported on the seat, so we can sit in front of the seat. We lean back, and the hands are going to come back to the handle of the chair. Maybe the heels of the hands can sit on the seat of the chair itself. So the hands will be turned out. So it is a bit different than our classic presentation of Urdhva Dhanurasana, where we have the fingers turned back towards the body. Hands turned out. You might even want to start with your hands up higher, all the way on the handle, gripping the handle. Let's start with the hands up high on the handle. Bring the feet in close to you. Inhale deeply. Exhale. Lift your hips up. Keep lifting the hips as you press your hands into the handle. And see if you can lift yourself up away from the seat. Now, we're not trying to get the elbows straight here necessarily. That might be quite difficult because the hands are so high. But we're intending to get lift off. And this could be a way of accessing lifting up for some people who find it difficult to get up off the floor. Let's come back down again. So the upper back is coming back onto the seat of the chair. Feel free to rest the arms. Next time we go up, we want to remember the imprint of the handle of the chair in our thoracic spine as we're lifting, because oftentimes the back bend can sit quite strongly in the lower back, but we want to try and take it more into the upper back. So if you can go further down with the hands, the heels of the hands, you maybe come onto the seat of the chair, you can try that as another positioning of the hands. Inhale deeply. Exhale as you press to the feet, lift your hips up, push the hands into the chair, and then lift away from the floor. The inner knees roll down as the outer hips lift up. Draw the tailbone in, lengthen the tailbone to the knees, and move the back bend from your lower back to your upper back. See if you can remember the impression of the handle of the chair in your upper back. Get those lower shouldered blades to squeeze into the back towards your chest. And then you can come back down all the way onto the chair. Rest the arms. Now, if you're finding that that's quite accessible and you want to work more with straightening your arms, we eliminate some of the height. So I'm going to take one of the bolsters out. You can choose to do that or just stay with the height that you've got if it's already a challenge for you. So I've eliminated one of the bolsters. The chair is on less of a slant, but I'm still going to lie the back body onto the seat in preparation for lifting up. Again, I'll be using the hands on the, whether they're up higher on the handle or whether the heels of the hands come onto the seat of the chair, you can decide, but the hands are slightly turned out. You could also try to start turning the hands back in their classic presentation, but I like having the heels of the hands on the seat of the chair here. Press the feet, dig the heels. Inhale. Exhale as you dig the heels, lift the outer hips up and see, can you push yourself up off the seat. Work towards straightening the elbows, but move your chest towards the wall. Thoracic spine in, chest towards the wall. The head of the shin bones presses in towards the chest. Lift and lengthen the tailbone towards the knees. See if you can take the arch from the lower back to the upper back. And then come down all the way and rest. Now, if this prop setup is really working for you, you stay with that setup. Those of us who are capable of lifting up from the floor, we're going to take the chair and the bolster out of the way, and we'll bring in a couple of bricks and put them underneath our feet. Now, I haven't spoken about this in this particular class, but some people find it helpful to contain the arms by putting a belt just above the elbows. They find that really helpful in supporting the strength of the arms in order to lift up into the pose. So that's something that you could explore. But if you're lifting up from the floor now, we're going to use bricks underneath the feet. I like taking the toes right up the wall, and we bring ourselves in close to the wall. Now, as I said before, if using the chair and the bolster or the two bolsters is helpful for you, you stay with that setup. But if we're going from the floor, start with your hips in close to the bricks. Keep the knees hip width apart as you place your hands under the shoulders. Now, the elbows may track out wide a little bit as you lift if you're not using your belt, but then we want to reinforce the elbows coming in and the elbows straightening eventually. Inhale deeply. Exhale. Lift your hips up and push into the hands as you lift yourself up. Now, ideally, your knees don't hit into the wall. So if your knees hit into the wall, you've got to press your shin bones away from the wall and ask for the upper back to mobilise. So shin bones press in towards the forearms, upper spine moving in towards the sternum. Straighten your elbows. Keep breathing. Then as you come down, elbows bend. Try to prevent the knees from hitting on the wall as you come down, and rest. You might like to rest with the legs up the wall so the back can settle down. Now, before we do one more time, I just want to talk about the tendency for the knees to hit into the wall. Obviously, if we've got our toes up the wall, the knees are really close to the wall. But commonly what I see with those who are weaker in the upper body is the body will drag towards the leg side more, and then it's actually potentially harder to access the strength of the upper arms and the shoulders. So using the wall is a really good guide as to whether you're letting that happen, because obviously the knees will hit into the wall. So try not to let the knees hit the wall. Get your weight so it's more over the arms and the shoulders as you lift up. Let's go again. Last one. Toes up the wall if you can manage. Hips are in close to the bricks. Then take your hands so the fingers are coming under the shoulders. Inhale deeply. Exhale as you press into the feet. Lift the outer hips up. Lift yourself up off the floor without the knees hitting the wall. Squeeze the elbow tips in so the arms are straight. Then move the thoracic spine in towards the chest. Top of the shin bones move in towards the forearms. Relax your facial muscles. Steady your breath. Make sure the hamstring muscles are engaged. So the muscles on the back of the thighs are contracting. And then we come down. Keep your shin bones away from the wall. So you bring your head down between the upper arms rather than letting it come back towards the wall. Again, relax your arms. You might like to take your heels up the wall as the legs rest and as the back settles. Now, while we're on the back, let's do an easy variation of Jathara Parivartanasana in order to help release the back from the back bends. So draw the knees in towards the chest. Just hug them for a moment. So catch your shins, knees into the chest. And just start to rock. So rolling onto the right side of the sacrum and then onto the left side of the sacrum. So we do this a few times, keeping a deep hip flexion. If the knees don't like flexing so much, you can have the hands under into the back of the knee crease there. Now, as you continue rocking, you let go of the grip of the shins, take the arms out wide, shoulder height. Pin the shoulders down, both shoulders, and you keep rocking and you take that rocking just a little further. So you're rolling more over onto the outer hip. Use your breath, so synchronize the movement with your breath. So you inhale, legs through the center, exhale, roll the legs over to one side. Inhale through the center, exhale, roll the legs over to one side. But you're not touching the floor with the knees and the feet. We'll finish up by taking the legs to the left. And then you can come back to center, rest the feet down, relax. It is true, Urdhva Dhanurasana can be a very challenging pose. There are so many areas of the body that need to be accessed and opened in order to achieve that pose, and hopefully we can go step by step using the props to help us integrate slowly towards the full pose. If you enjoy practicing with me, I invite you to check out the video library on my website, heatherkitchenyoga.com.au. There are over 450 full-length classes in that library, and I invite you to start your membership with a 7-day free trial. That's it for today. Thanks for joining me. For more in-depth teaching, check out the video library on my website, heatherkitchenyoga.com.au. The link is in the description box below.